Today I bring you a story of success against the court system that's part of this governmental tyranny over us, and how I, through a notice of liability, made them backstep and retract a decision the courts had made. I think this is very important for everyone to see this experience I've had, because I think it's fitting for a lot of people to understand that a court's decision is not valid. When you stand, as I do, as a child of God, living man, not part of any governmental institution. I have a court proceedings against me. It's a civil case. The morning that I went to court, I gave my kids a big hug in the morning, and I loved them. And I told them that no one has authority over us. And no one can make us do anything we don't want to do. And so I told them that morning, I'm going to go to court and I'm not going to take off my hat when they tell me to, because I know they're going to tell me to. And that's just what happened. I went to court and the layout was a standard court layout. Let's take a look at that here. So at the top there, we've got the judge's bench. And I have to note as well, the judge's bench is a raised structure. And it's done so that the judge there has a commanding view over the court. Now, the court you can consider just like a squash court or tennis court, basketball court. It's an area where a game is played. So I went in, and the first thing I started doing was recording an audio recording on my phone, which is my right, actually, to record any contractual negotiation that I'm undergoing. So the judge came out of the back room and went up to her high and mighty bench wearing a black robe, and I didn't stand up. And prior to that, the associates of the judge asked me to please remove my hat, to which I questioned why would I have to do that. And they said they'd leave it to the judge. The judge asked me if I was recording, to which, of course, I replied, yes, of course I'm recording. I'm here as God is witness, and my recording device is witness, and all of these fine people are witness as well. The judge wouldn't let it go unless I removed my hat and stopped recording. So I did ask her, what authority she had to make me do those two things. And she started reading from a web page that shows the rules of etiquette in the courtroom. So I let her know that those were her corporation's rules, and they had nothing to do with myself. Well, she didn't like that. Eventually, she called some police officers to come into the courtroom. So 2 armed men entered the room, and I was asked to leave because I couldn't continue without those 2 requirements being met. All right, so that's fine. So the case conference basically didn't happen, but they did continue it after I was gone. And I got something sent to me. All right, let's take a look at this endorsement sheet. Basically, it says here that upon my arrival, I refused to take off my hat and admitted that I was recording. When requested to remove my hat and stop recording, as per the rules set out in the website regarding court etiquette, I refused and indicated that the judge had no authority over me and this court had no jurisdiction. I was advised that if I wished to address the issues identified in my own case conference brief, such as blah, 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 I would have to comply with the rules of the court. I refused to comply with the rules of the court, so security was called and I was requested to leave, which I eventually did. The case conference proceeded, but little progress was made in advancing the matter given my conduct. Discussions were held with respect to the issues of blah, 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 and then the applicant has leave to bring a motion. Oh, okay. So the applicant has leave to bring a motion. I don't, but the applicant does. Interesting. Council will determine next steps, which may include bringing a motion for the urgent sale of my house. It's my house. A summary judgment. It's basically the judge can just say, this is the final decision, no more negotiation. A request to strike pleadings. So everything I've submitted becomes omitted, or setting down the matter for trial. So just thanks for the heads up. A transcript of the entirety of the proceedings was ordered, and a hard copy will be provided to each of the parties. Oh, that's good. So I didn't have to record because they're going to provide me with a hard copy of the entire proceedings. That's good to know. The applicant is entitled to costs thrown away for the case conference. My conduct prevented any meaningful progress on the issue. Counsel will forward me a brief costs submission for consideration, signed by the judge. What I did in response was I sent the judge and her boss and his boss a notice of liability. The Attorney General is a senior member of the Executive Council of Ontario Cabinet, is responsible for administration of Ontario's courts. Okay, so they're responsible for the administration of the courts. So they're one of the bosses. And who's another one? Oh yeah, the Ontario Premier. So I sent out 3 letters of liability. We'll take a look at one of them. Here we go. So I sent this one here to Doug Ford, and it says that the attached endorsement that I received, signed by your subordinate, unlawfully claims that I am liable for costs of proceeding that she prevented me from taking part in, and threatens the sale of my private property and my rights to due process of law. Any action related to this endorsement which deprives me of my inherent rights, forces the sale of my private property, or requires me to pay a fee or fine will be considered not limited to unlawful enrichment, coercion, embezzlement, and fraud by agents of your corporation. Fraud is a criminal offense. Liable parties are the judge, Doug Downey, who's, he's no longer the Attorney General, but was at the time, and Doug Ford, the acting Premier. Scott Arthur, that's me, has title of the Statement of Live Birth Property, 077316. We've gone over this. When I was born, by God, by my mother, I was registered through the Statement of Live Birth. That Statement of Live Birth was registered to the government of the province of Ontario in trust. So they were entrusted to provide me with protection of my rights and administrative of the country's economic value, etc., for my benefit. I'm the beneficiary. That's why it says beneficiary everywhere. So I attached it. I have sole equitable interest and am the sole grantor and beneficiary of the public account. All right? Because they created that account from the Statement of Live Birth. It's derived from that, and I am the grantor and beneficiary of that document. I'm therefore the grantor and beneficiary of all other documents. That's where the fraud is. They consider themselves the grantor of the birth certificate, and we are the trustees. But they flip the roles, and that's fraudulent, and that goes against their fiduciary duties, and they could go to jail for that. That's illegal. Fraud. The government of the province of Ontario Corporation has a fiduciary duty as trustee of the public account, my public account, and I have sole title of this property. It's my claim. And then I go on to explain this claim against me. Statement of facts. There is no valid contract between myself that requires me to comply with any of your rules or regulations. There's no valid contract between me and has a claim against me. And then I explained that this case conference was held, blah, blah, blah. And I provided information in a case conference brief which detailed the fact that the government of the province of Ontario Corporation lacked jurisdiction and included my fee schedule should it be found or required that I act as agent of that corporation. So you know how this works. I was present, sui juris, and in propria persona, so in my own right, unrepresented. There was no appearance made of my public account. Okay, so this legal entity that they've created was not there. I was there as the living man. Known parties are, myself, the judge, and the claimant. I held my own court under God with all of my God-given inherent rights intact. 100%. So the judge refused to allow me to remain in the room unless I removed my hat and stop recording as per your corporation's rules. I refused to relinquish my rights and possess an audio recording of the proceedings. She then ordered 2 armed men in the room, forced me to leave, thereby preventing me from being able to take part in any discussions related to my private property or defend any claim made against me in honor. All right, then it sent this endorsement. It sanctioned the following unlawful orders made by the judge. Endorsement claimed that only the applicant have leave to bring motion and that the applicant is entitled to costs payable. I have to pay their lawyer fees. Included in the endorsement is the following threats: bring a motion, urgent sale of my property, summary judgment, strike all my arguments, my entire case, stricken. Threat to settle down the matter for trial. Yeah, okay, if they want to go to trial, be my guest, but I require a trial by jury. The judge attempted to deprive me of my rights by forcing me to remove an article of clothing. Judge attempted to deprive me of my rights by forcing me to stop recording. And they have unjustly endorsed procedural privilege to the applicant only and have threatened me with the forced sale of my private property. And the judge is also threatening and attempting to embezzle me by requiring me to pay for proceedings she forced me to leave. Rectification. If the judge revokes her endorsement, the issue will be resolved. Otherwise, if I am shown to be acting as agent officer of the government of the Province of Ontario Corporation and I am paid for my role as per the attached fee schedule, the issue will be resolved. Lack of rectification. I hereby give notice if rectification as described above is not established after 7 days, I will be entitled to pursue compensation from each liable party, there's 3 of them, as per the attached fee schedule for crimes of embezzlement, unlawful orders, coercion to perform without a valid contract, and threats of sale of my private property, as well as the loss of right to participate in matters related to my private affairs. I should say at that point, not limited to. All right, so there's an invoice. Should they find that rectification number 2 is the path that they want to go, there's an invoice provided. And just a note, a registered letter has been submitted to each party. Please respond within 7 days, or the matter will be considered closed with the endorsement having no cause or effect. So what happened? Rectification number 1 is what happened. They retracted the document. Guys, this is huge. The fact that they retracted that document based on my claim as beneficiary of the accounts that we have set up with the government shows and establishes that they are the trustees of my account. They wouldn't remove that document if they were standing in truth and in honor, but they're not. They're standing legally under their government corporation. As soon as I stand outside of that as my living man status, their system crumbles. Let's take a look at my fee schedule now. So if I'm acting as a government agent or officer, then I charge $500,000 an hour, Canadian. I have to stand outside the government and show that if they want me inside their system, I'm very, very expensive. So they don't want me there. These values have to be high. All right. And now that they've threatened my house, the values have gone way up. Shame on them, because the fraud in the whole system is that they actually own my house. They actually own title of my house. They own title of my vehicle, right? But that's my property. I paid for it. So they've done that fraudulently, which is illegal. It's a crime. So yes, I need to establish those things back to being my own ownership. But in the meantime, it's fine because they've done it illegally, unlawfully, fraudulently. So they don't want to even touch on that if we know what they've done and we threaten them with it. All right, deprivation of my inherent rights. I like this one. Any order, statement, or requirement for me to relinquish any of my God-given inherent rights costs $1 million per right. Yeah. And then also if there's any unlawful detainment of me or my person, it's $1 million. So that's fair. If they want to pay me that, I will be their bitch. But otherwise, they're my bitch. okay? And I handle all things honorably, fairly, and I don't need them in this matter. And they don't have jurisdiction in this matter. And the fact that they retracted that document, that shows that I am right. All right, people, know your power, remove the fear, clear your minds. Everything is done through paperwork, and we can beat this system. Stay free, my friends.
Freedom!